Over the last 18 months or so, Mercedes-Benz have been a busy bunch. They launched the new C-Class and the AMG GT and the S-Class Coupe. They've also reshuffled some of their model names, which has confused some people. And they've added a brand new model to their lineup, which is also in itself a little bit confusing. It's called the GLC, and although this is the first time the name has appeared on a Mercedes-Benz, this is the second generation of this mid-size SUV. The first one was called the GLK, which never made it to South Africa. Be that as it may, here we have another contender in the trying to be an off-roader but not really category. So, does it have a measure of off-roadability? Well, it does have 180mm ground clearance and all-wheel drive, but when you look at it, it's also got a lot of chrome and pretty 19-inch wheels and styling that suggests that this car's natural environment will almost certainly be covered exclusively by tar roads. It is a very nice-looking machine, this. Mercedes-Benz are on a roll as far as their styling goes, and the GLC is another in a recent line of attention-grabbing cars. But this SUV doesn't rely on bulky or aggressive styling to make its point. It's as attractive as anything else in the company's lineup, and its size has done nothing to detract from its stylishness. On the road, it feels as good as it looks. We're driving the 250d. It's a 2.1-litre four-cylinder with 150 kilowatts and a very useful 500 newton meters and a 9-speed gearbox. And the whole thing works together really well. The diesel motor's got lots of shove, and with so many gears to choose from, the gearbox always manages to find the sweet spot. There are two ways you can drive this car. One, you can use its selectable drive modes and paddle shifts, or two, you can just use the accelerator. While the first might make you feel like you're doing a better job than the car's electronics, the truth is that there really is always power available when you need it, without having to resort to any extra effort on your part. Besides, the whole setup in here feels like it's more inclined towards a relaxed drive. We've got the air body control system fitted as an option. It costs 14,000 Rand, but it is worth every cent. It's a continuously variable damper system, and what that basically means, it's always setting up the car to suit the prevailing road conditions. And it's very good at two things in particular. One, keeping things as comfortable as possible, and two, practically deleting speed bumps. If you are one of the exceptions that plans to use the GLC for more adventurous things than the daily routine, then there are a few extras designed specifically for you. You can match the air body control to the off-road package and get 50mm extra ground clearance. You can also opt for an electrically folding tow hitch. The GLC 250d is technically a very good car. It's got decent power and good comfort, and lots of very clever safety options like adaptive cruise control and a head-up display. But there is something missing. There's no magic. There's nothing that makes you want to drive it. It's a bit like going on a date with a beautiful woman, only to find she orders the salad and talks about the Kardashians a little bit too much. Nice from one point of view, but really no substance. That said, I do think that's more my problem than the car's. This car competes against the Audi Q5, and I feel exactly the same way about that car as I do about this one. Really nice on paper, really nothing exciting when you get behind the wheel. And it's not like the GLC isn't trying, because it is. By now, we're quite used to manufacturers adding all kinds of toys to test cars, but it seems Mercedes-Benz are going for some kind of record in here. They've added 20 optional extras, which has made it a very comfortable space, but it's also made this car ludicrously expensive. This particular GLC goes for 900,000 Rand, and that makes it, near as makes no damn it, almost 50% more expensive than the standard model. Rather than talk about the things that have been added here, which would take a very long time indeed, let's focus on the things that you get in common or garden variety GLCs. One of the best, and ironically worst things about this interior is the wood inlay in the doors and center console. It's a very nice touch having a real wood finish, but unfortunately it's a very thin veneer, which makes it feel a bit flimsy. Not very Mercedes-Benz. But there are lots of reasons to be cheerful in here, chief among them the space in the back, which is very good. Add to that the convenience with things like remote switches for dropping the rear seats, and you have a very user-friendly interior. Boot space is decent, but it is the same as you'd get in an Audi Q5 or BMW X3. So, lots of positives about the Mercedes-Benz GLC 250d. Even without the impossible options list, it's still practical, comfortable, good looking, and it's a good drive. And even though I can't seem to find some personality, if I had to make a choice in this class, I'd choose this car. With a 9-speed automatic gearbox and a well-sorted turbodiesel motor, the GLC 250d offers an effortless drive whether you're stuck in traffic or pressing on. The innumerable options make our test car ludicrously expensive, but the GLC would be just as good without almost all of them, offering a comfortable drive with a convenient and spacious interior. It may not pack much character, but it's still a very good option in its class.